Hey, what's up internet? Thank you guys for joining me again. Today we're going to do an unboxing, but this one's going to be a little bit different than the rest. It's not fish. It's something else that I've decided to get. I've been trying to decide for a while. I'm planning on getting a generator, but I wanted something to fill in some gaps where the time of getting a generator on. I don't really want to spend the money to get it all set up so a generator automatically kicks on. So I've been looking into some of the battery backups. They're typically designed to go on computers, you know, so that if the power goes out for a second or whatever, your computer stays on for like 3 or 4 minutes. It gives you time to shut everything down and get everything saved. Well, the idea of having one that only lasts for 3 minutes really doesn't do me any good. So I decided I would do hours upon hours of research to try to find exactly what the right one that I needed was. So finally, after a bunch of time, I found the one that I wanted. So let's grab it and let's put it up here and let's actually take a look at it. Oh man, it's heavy. The battery that it's in, it's extremely heavy. Let's pull the top off here. Man, I can't even get it out. Let's just pull it out of the box down here. All right. Put that there. Put the box kind of over here so you can kind of get a look at it. Okay, so this is the APC, which one is it? The APC XS 1500 backup. Now this thing is complicated. It's not complicated. It's designed to do way more than what I need it to do. But if you look, it's got a screen here on the front. Let's see. Let's turn around the back here. You guys kind of get a look at the back. You can see that it's got a port here for a network cable up here to act as a surge protector for your network cable. It's got a place to put your cable in and out here, so you can actually a surge protector for your cable also. This side is completely just a surge protector. This side over here is the one that acts on battery backup. This one's quite a bit bigger than maybe the ones that you normally see because of the batteries that are in there. So this one, the main thing that I want this thing to do is I want to be able to keep my air pumps going. I'm not really worried about any of the lighting or anything else whenever the electricity goes out, but I want to be able to keep the air pumps going. My wife and I, at least twice a year, we go on a youth ministry trip where we're gone for about 4 days at a time. And my fear is the electricity goes off at that time. So what this thing would do is whenever the electricity would cut off, it would cut off, this thing will automatically come on, and I'll have my air pump plugged directly into this, and then it'll continue powering the air pump. So the question that I kept wondering is, how long will it power it? Well, the air pump that I have, it's the linear piston, the 60, I think is the one I have, and I think it's about 35 watts is I think what it draws. So if you look up here on the box, it kind of gives you an idea. It says if you're pulling 45 watts, it'll go about 59 minutes. If you're pulling 56 watts, it'll go about 27 minutes. And then up here, if you're pulling 28 watts, it'll go 164 minutes. So I think this one, based upon the amount that the pump is pulling, I think this one will actually run for about 2 hours. We very seldomly get any kind of blackouts here, and when we do, they don't typically last for very long. Luckily we're in a fairly new neighborhood where all of our power lines are all buried, so we don't have the typical problems that a lot of people do. And we did have one blackout about 5 or 6 months ago that lasted for about 24 hours. But the idea, again, if this thing gives me 2 hours to be able to come home from work, to start at the generator, to do whatever that I need to do. And hopefully for those times when I'm gone for 4 days, it'll continue to work until the electricity comes back on, so that I can have some peace of mind for what I'm wanting to do. or I can have some peace of mind of knowing that the pumps will continue on. Now I've got the heaters out there too, but the only heaters that I'm using really right now are on the discus tank, because that's the only one that I keep a little bit hotter. I keep it at about 83 degrees, and right now I'm keeping the room at somewhere between about 77, 78 degrees, so that all my tanks stay the exact same, so I don't have to run heaters in every single one of them. So obviously I don't want to put a heater in here, because the heater that's running on that one's about 125 watts. So with that, I would probably only get about 22 minutes total. Some of the other research that I've done on these things is it talks about there's ones that are more of a high end that deal with called pure sine. I think what that is, from my understanding, is it controls the voltage that goes in and out of the machine, from what I've read, some people have tried different types of setups like this, but they try to use either car batteries or marine batteries, and then they hook an inverter up to it, and they have it set up so whenever the power goes off, it automatically kicks on and runs off of that battery. But what people have figured out is some of the pumps that run on a magnetic style pump, that when that electricity is not getting the right amount of wattage or voltage, I'm obviously not an electrical engineer, so I barely know what I'm talking about, let's not kid ourselves, that it can burn up the pumps and ruin them. So those start out at about $400 or so a piece, so that was way more than I really wanted to deal with. So I'm going to try this one out and see how this does. If for some reason it doesn't work out the way that I want it to work, I actually need one at work, so I'll just use it there. But the other reason that I bought it is, so I run a printing company, and as running a printing company, I buy a lot of paper, and a lot of paper that I buy, especially like 20-pound white, I buy from Staples. And when I buy paper from Staples, I get a 5% cash back every single month. Also through Staples, I produce a tremendous amount of empty toner cartridges that go into my machines that I have. Well, Staples has a program that you can take your toner cartridges and take them back, and they'll give you $2 for each one. Again, it's a store credit, basically what it is. A normal account, you can get 10, you can take 10 back a month, but I have a Premier account because I spend like $500 a year or something like that. So with that one, I'm able to take 20 back. So that means I get $40 a month in in-store credit. And that credit they give you lasts for 60 days. So I had $195 in Staples credit that I had sitting there, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to buy. I don't want to buy paper with it, because then I can't write the paper off as an expense. So they do have some pond equipment, so I've actually bought some pumps, or I bought a pump, a 750 gallon per hour pump that I use to move water from one container to the next downstairs. But at this point I really don't need another one, so I didn't want to buy that right then. So that's when I decided to go ahead and take the money and use it and buy this. So in reality, the thing didn't cost me a penny, so that's why I was willing to go ahead and buy it. This one I think was $140 is what I ended up paying for it. So let's take it, let's plug it in. All right, let's turn her on here. All right, so we can see here on the screen right now it's showing there's nothing plugged in, so you've got 262 minutes of time that this thing will run. But as you plug it in, it'll tell you what the wattage is of the things that you got plugged in. Right now it's showing that it's running 113 volts. This one, I'm not sure exactly what the first choice is, but there's one that'll tell you what the load is, so it'll tell you exactly how many watts that you're running through it. And then whatever that wattage is that you have running through it, it'll then calculate and it'll change the amount of time that the battery, so you know exactly how much battery life you have based upon what's plugged into it. So let's take it down there and let's get it plugged in, and let's get the pumps plugged in and see how she looks. Okay, here we are in the fish room. We've got it set up now. I obviously calculated something wrong, or I just remembered wrong actually. I went back and looked at the Gemco website, and actually this pump, when it's running at maximum capacity, is about 68, 69 watts. So if you look right here, you can see, if I can get this horrible glare off of here, you can see right now it's running at about 69 watts. And then if we switch around, we'll see 7% load, 114 volts. Trying to get to the one that shows how much time. Okay, so right now the battery goes out. This thing will run for 73 minutes. If I plug in this other pump, which I'm thinking about running, just to run some more of the deep water tanks, I plugged it in and I think it was like 8 or 9 watts, so it dropped it down to about 68. So again, power goes off, this thing immediately picks up, nothing ever stops. Pumps continue on for 73 minutes. Electricity comes back on, the battery starts charging again, over and over and over. The batteries, I've heard, last for 2 or 3 years at a time. So excited. I'm hoping this works out well.
Thanks again, guys, for joining me. It's been a blast again. I really appreciate you guys taking your time to check it out. I hope maybe that you learned something from this, or maybe you know something more about these than I even know, and you have some past experience. If you have any other questions or comments or any kind of helpful hints that you might have, please leave a comment. I'd love to communicate with you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I'd really appreciate you guys subscribing, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know every time that a video gets posted. Thank you guys again so much, and God bless.